Alrighty. Welcome back to the Consecrate podcast, where we share real stories of transformation, redemption, and purpose. Today's guest is someone who spent most of his life behind bars, a man who knows what it feels like to lose freedom, time, and opportunity. But today, he's free. He's working, he's providing, and he's rebuilding something most people take for granted. That's a family. This is a story of accountability, change, and what it takes to come back from nothing. Let's get into it. So my guest today, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? Like, take us back to the beginning, where you're from, where you grew up.
Well, I'm Michael McBride. And I'm from Los Angeles, California. Born and raised there, South Central LA. Most of my young years, I was a gang member.
What gang are you from?
Avalon Gangster Crip, 5 train.
It's an old neighborhood, isn't it?
Still got
Okay. So you grew up in, what was your childhood environment like growing up?
my childhood environment was like, I had 5 brothers and 5 sisters, or 4 brothers and 5 sisters.
Okay. So if they was getting into something, you was getting into something. You guys are all in the same school together?
I'm in the middle, and we all went to the West Vernon in LA. We went to John Muir, we went to Manual Arts. I graduated from Manual Arts. 2 of my brothers graduated from Manual Arts. Everybody else graduated from my oldest sister. I've never met my oldest sister.
Oh, wow. You know what? It's funny. I found out when I was 35, I did the ancestry DNA test because I was adopted into the Conacoas, right? And I found out I'm like the oldest of 5. And then I went and met all my biological family. It was like, I got lucky.
Yeah, I waited for my DNA to come back on my ancestry.
Oh, that's dope. Yeah. It's really interesting. It really is. I guess I have a list of questions here, but like, Mike, so you were able to graduate from high school. Is that what you said? You graduated, and did you join a gang before you graduated high school, or you're just involved?
Yeah,
Okay.
I was in a gang. Well, I mean, in LA, you're either in a gang or you're not in LA.
You're gonna get bullied and picked on.
You have nobody to rely on. I mean, I have brothers and sisters, which my brother that's just older than me, we're both in a gang. My 2 older brothers weren't in gang, but they were associated with the gang.
Mm-hmm.
My younger brother was never really in the gang scene because my mom, I was with my dad, and so I was with my other brothers and sisters. And so I shot my first gun when I was 14. I mean, I was just shooting at people and people shooting at me. That was a life. That was what I was raised into. I grew up in. You know what I mean? So that's what I knew. But my mom pulled me out, and it kind of made me versatile because my mom pulled me to the Northwest. My dad pulled me back to the South Central. My mom pulled me back to Northwest. It was a back and forth thing. So my younger brother grew up in LA, but I don't know, maybe it's huh? You skateboard?
Yeah. Hey, skate. Hey, we love the skateboarders. Shout out to the skaters.
Yeah. He was there. He was more or less. I was from Avalon Gangster Crip. He was more or less from Harlem 30s, but he wasn't in the gang. But
he's kicked it.
He just kicked it with those guys.
You can get in trouble doing that. Sure, circle of influence.
I went to juvenile hall when my first time I went was when I was 14. From the age of 14, I never stayed out longer than I don't think I made a year. From 14 to 21, I was in and out. And then 21, I went to the more bigger place, county jail.
So tell us about that.
County
so
jail.
This is county. Have you been to LA County Jail?
I've been to LA County Jail. I've been to the Twin Towers. I've been to the old LA County Jail.
Wow. I've heard stories about that place. It'll be like, we think Clark County Jail is bad, like, and it kind of is, but I heard LA is just like.
Clark County Jail is a walk in the park.
Compared to LA County Jail?
Compared to LA County Jail, Clark County Jail is a walk in the park. It's like, I mean, LA County Jail, you better know somebody. You better know somebody because if you go in
Yeah.
there and you don't know anybody, you're getting robbed, you're getting beat up, you're not eating right. I mean, it's a whole different world in there. It's a world.
Yeah, I heard you got to be ready to catch a lot of fades if you want to have some respect. And if you're claiming like, for that's interesting because I think a lot of the guys I've interviewed have done time in only Washington
Yeah,
or Oregon, so and it's funny because it seems like Washington mimics their politics or tries to be California really bad.
they do.
So so you've been to some of the hard. So when you came up probably doing time in Washington, did you just come up to Washington and you just started kind of getting in trouble? What happened there? What was the
I came up.
transition where you're just in Washington?
I came up here to the state of Washington, and I was hanging out with my cousins, and uh, I got in trouble my first time in Washington for stealing horses.
For stealing horses?
Stealing horses.
Well, you know what they say, truth is stranger than fiction. So, hey, how many did you get?
We stole 4 horses, and we were riding all 4 of them.
You knew how to ride a horse?
You know,
Yeehaw.
my dad was a fan of westerns,
Okay.
so I watched a lot of John Wayne, a lot of Rifleman, a lot, you know, uh, Bonanza, Big Valley, and my thing was I'm gonna ride a horse. I'm gonna ride a horse. I came to Washington, there are all these horses. There's all
Living out
these
your
horses.
childhood dream.
My cousin says, "I know where a bunch of horses are. We can go ride them."
Just caught a Class A felony right off the bat.
Right off the bat. Right off the
So
bat.
so this is like, okay. How old were you at this time?
I was I came up here and got that case. I was 19. Came up here, got that case at 19. I've been up here before because my mom and dad were playing the back and forth. I came up here and started hanging out with my cousins, and that wasn't a good deal. They weren't gang members, but they were criminals. They were criminals. And so when I was talking to them and I was telling them I want to ride a horse. I want to ride a horse. You ever rode a horse before? Nope, never rode one, but I know how to ride one. And I got on that horse and rode it right off, right off the ranch.
Wait, where was this at? Like Richfield or something?
Yeah,
Battleground?
you know where 152nd is in like you know where the pits used to be?
Is this East Vancouver? Okay. Yeah. It was more country out there back then, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it used to be the pits, and so they had all the dips and all the. We used to ride, and we took those first stop there, and rode all in the pits.
Okay. So yeah, so that was your first case. It's funny how, yeah, think back to like my first time getting in trouble and it was for something like pretty stupid and it ended up being something I just couldn't figure out for the next 10 years. So, and I think particularly Clark County has a way of, because this is all I know, of keeping people stuck. It's a system that, is very
Yeah,
difficult to get out of.
it's a never-ending system.
And Clark County is probably, in my opinion, it is still one of the worst places you could ever get in trouble, it seems like, because they just won't it's just
They want
hard
to
to
hold
get
on
out
to
of
you.
the system.
They want to hold on to you. So from
Yeah.
the age of 19 to the age of 50, I was on probation in Clark County.
Oh my gosh. That's like 30 years, over 30 years.
Never ending, never ending. Probation go probation go to jail. Probation go to jail. Probation go to jail. I was out 6 months, go to jail. I was out a month, go to jail. I was out 3 months, go to jail. I was out 4 months, go to jail. Huh? Oh yeah, I was out on bail, went back an hour.
Oh man, yeah. Oh yeah. Well, if somebody knows, it'd be you, man. I've only made bail one time in my whole life. But yeah, my family, as you know, my uncle was the sheriff of Clark County
Yes,
for a long time. So my family was just like, well, you'll learn, man. You'll figure it out. Good luck. So
yes.
just I had really no love there. But so I guess all of this time that you've done, you've been to pretty much everywhere in every prison probably by now in Washington State.
In Washington State, I've been in Monroe, Walla Walla, Column Bay, McNeil Island. Right after they changed it over from the feds, when they changed it over to the feds, they sent a bunch of us there. I've been to Cedar Creek, Large Mountain. I escaped from Large Mountain. I've been to Forks. I've been to McNeil. Yeah, I was McNeil where they changed it over, or right when
I
they
think I
changed it
wrote you when you were at McNeil. I think I did when you were at McNeil Island.
over. I've been everywhere except for uh, Airway Heights, and I've been Airway Heights, and there's
Yeah,
another
bro, I
one.
think you got them all.
I've been to all of them except for two.
So, with that being said, you spent most of your life locked up. And unfortunately, there's a lot of guys that we know, same thing, you know. And myself, I was on the fast track to never figuring it out. But what's something that most people on the outside will never understand about prison?
Prison is what people on the outside don't understand about prison is it's 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 its own world. It's its own world. It's not what you see on TV. It's not what um, people who've been to camp tell you it's been. It's not. Prison is an entity in itself, and when you go to prison, your mindset is totally different than from being free or being in camp. Because prison, you have to focus. You have to focus on what's coming and what's going by. Because if you don't, you get caught up. You might not make it out. Because a lot of people go in there with their chest out, come out with their chest in. And what I mean by that is they go in there on top of the world and come out under somebody else. A lot of people don't understand that you can't go in there and be you can't be you and do it on your own. You can't be a loner going into prison
It's
unless
hard to
you're
do.
unless you're
Me, yeah, and you just don't care. Or if you're in a low custody, I'm sure you can get away with a little bit more.
if anything in close custody, your mindset is your head's on a swivel. Your head's on a swivel. I mean, anybody that's been to close custody and tells you that it's a piece of cake, they're lying.
I've been to 8 Wing, so
You
before
know,
they changed it.
yeah, you know,
Yeah, I was there for a short while. I was actually my cellie was on because this was during the lockdown, and they
Mhm.
moved this big old Samoan cat. His name was Scooby from Long Beach, and he had killed those dudes up in Tacoma. You know he's free now, but that's
Yeah,
the biggest Samoan I ever seen in my life. I'm talking the dude had to go under the bars door to get
yeah.
into the cell. I was like, what the? And he was the nicest guy ever. Beat me at chess like 50-0. Anyways, yeah, I
I
was
know
close.
exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah, dude, he kept giving me passes too. And looking back on it, he gave me a lot of passes.
You know,
But
the biggest native I've ever seen was Modoc. I don't know if you remember who Modoc is.
I
He
me-
killed,
I
he killed a
remember the
guy.
name.
He killed a guy and had him in his back seat driving around with him.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember the story.
The
Yeah,
big native.
there's some big dudes in there, man, and
Yeah,
it's like they got to make bigger cells and beds for him. I remember
yeah,
he wouldn't even wear the state issue clothes because they wouldn't fit him.
yeah.
So he just kept wearing the orange jumpsuit for like a whole week. Anyways, it's like back to close custody.
Yeah.
The things that people wouldn't understand about prison. Or is there anything else that you think that other people wouldn't understand?
I don't think the mentality of people in close custody. I think people on the outside think everybody is the same. Close custody
Yeah,
people
there's
have
levels.
yeah. Most custody people have a different mindset because there's rules, there's laws that they live by. You know what I mean? I mean, lifers live by rules and law, and people on the outside don't understand that when they're talking to their loved ones that's in there for 18 months or 2 years or whatever, their perspective is different than the average person on the outside. It's what's the
Yeah.
word I'm looking
For everyone watching, yeah, FAFO, if you want to F around, you can find out. Any of our listening viewers who've never been, stay in school. Don't do drugs.
for.
Because, yeah,
And don't
I
do
agree.
don't do
Bro, I literally,
13 to the age of 50, the age of 50, 51.
would you say that, drugs and alcohol played a big role in, getting
Oh yeah.
caught up in the streets or in prison?
My great grandfather was an alcoholic. My grandfather was an alcoholic. My dad was an alcoholic, and me and all my brothers were alcoholics. I broke the habit. I broke the cycle of alcoholism. Not alcoholic anymore. And then I went from alcohol to drugs. Did drugs. Screwed a lot of things up. Screwed life up. But what I can say is, I figured it out. Figured it out. My kids didn't want nothing to do with me. My family didn't want nothing to do with me. I was reckless, reckless. A lot of stuff I didn't care about. I didn't care about people or what they thought. It was about me. And to me now, life isn't about me. Life isn't about my family, my friends, and my loved ones. I figured out that I'm not my only family. To just love me is selfish. To not let others love me is selfish. There's a lot of people who tried to love me, and I guess I would say I pushed them away. I didn't want their love. I didn't need their love. Everybody needs love. Everybody needs love. I've been with my wife. We've been married for 27 years next month. That woman is everything, or everything to me. Everything. That woman's been through beyond hell and back because of me, and she's still here. And she always told me, I don't want wicked. I want the person I married. I want the person I married. Not I don't want wicked. I want the person I married. And so we got rid of wicked, and the person she married came in, and we've been living a beautiful life. I
I
haven't been
would.
back to jail.
How long have you been out?
When did I get out? 6 years. 6 years.
I mean, that's incredible considering doing 30 years of
I've
your
been
life.
clean for 8 years. It was eight
Praise God.
years. December 26th was my 8th year, and I've
Yeah.
never looked back. I've never looked back. I don't think I'm better than people that are still out there on drugs or doing drugs. I choose not to be a part of that. But if you're trying to help yourself and you want to get out of that, we are all about helping you. But if you're just trying to game us and just trying to, get another fix from somewhere or somehow, we're not the one. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because I know, your family a little bit, and your wife, I was going to say, yeah, your wife is like a ride or die, like a one of one for sure. And just the way she would talk about you when I used to work with her when I first got out, and yeah, I knew that she loved you. And so I guess, you say you figured it out, but what was there, kind of going back, because I want to go back a little bit, was there
Okay.
ever a moment before you figured it out? Like, was there ever, because I'm asking this question because I remember a point in time. I don't know if I'm going to get emotional about this, but I was out, I was free, and I was talking to a friend of mine, and I'm like, this is all like a dream, because I know it's just a matter of time before I get locked up again. And looking back on that, I realized like I truly was hopeless and I had no idea how to figure it out. And so, was there ever like a moment where you thought that your life was going to be like that forever?
There was. So let me say this. I was in a position within myself where I'm never gonna get out of this. This is I'm stuck. I'm stuck. That was my mindset. I'm never gonna get out of this. So Clark County is gonna keep me down, so I might as well just keep doing what I'm doing because I use Clark County as my holder downer. Every time I turned around, I had to answer to them. I had to do this or do that or jump through a hoop. And then it was just too much. To be a normal person, it wouldn't have been too much. It would have been just do what you need to do and get over it. But in that world, in that life, it was this is too much. It's too much. I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing. If they lock me up, they lock me up. But then there was a time when I was sitting at I won't say a friend's house because friends don't put you in a position like that. I was at a guy's house that I knew, associate, and I had a bag of dope in my pocket, pipe in my hand, and a torch in my other hand. And I was sitting there and I was looking at the people that were around me in this house. And I was thinking to myself, you're better than this, dude. You've been better than this. You got a family, dude. You got people that love you. You got kids that cry because you're not home. And at that point in time, I thought to myself, I can get out of it. And I threw the pipe and I threw dope all over the place. And you could see the people just what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? And I was just like,
You're
and
like scrambling around on the carpet.
they were, they were, they were. And then I was buying a car, because I wanted my wife to have a better car. I was buying a car from somebody that I thought that was legit, but in that world, nobody's legit. Paperwork was felonious. I went to prison for
Fugazi.
that. Yeah,
You did. Okay.
I went to prison for a car that I was buying, and I'm glad my wife wasn't in it when I got pulled over in it. And then so I went to prison for that. And from that time on, I went to prison and I focused on what I needed to do to break the cycle.
So it sounds like at that moment when you threw that bag in that room and then shortly after getting arrested, the seed was kind of planted and you started to build off of that during your. And was this the last time that you went in? Okay.
Yeah,
So this was kind of like the turning point then.
that was my truth.
So and like I guess in what ways, like what are some of the things that you went through during, because change is hard. Like
Yeah.
change is hard and it's not comfortable oftentimes, and sometimes the old part of us has to die. What are some of the changes that you went through while you went through this experience?
I had to put away me. I had to put away my old me and the way my old me thought. And the way my old me thought was, I'm going to do what I need to do to get by, to get out of here. But that was not the case this time. This time it was, I'm going to do what I need to do to stay out here. It was hard because there's people in there that I know that I've been in the joint with. There's people I know from the streets. And so I had to slowly push people away. And then my wife, at the same time, my wife said, never want to talk to you again, never want to see you again. So my focus was, I have to keep that connection. I have to keep that connection. So I would call her and I would call her and I would call her and I would have other people call her and I would send her letters. I had to keep that connection. I guess that was my hope connection. If I, if I could keep my wife, I could keep my sanity and I could keep out of this place because I know my wife would keep me out of this place and keep my head focused. So my focus was on my wife and my kids. And so that was my whole turning point was my wife and my kids. It wasn't about me anymore because before it was about me. I just say what I need to say for them to come back. Just say what I need to say for them to come back. But at this point it was I said what I needed to say to keep them to stay. And for them to see that I was working on change. I wasn't just saying, I was doing at the same time. And in doing,
Yeah.
it was just like I went to church, but church church there wasn't filling. It wasn't filling. I don't know if the people know what I mean by it. It wasn't filling. It wasn't. It soul.
Gotcha.
It wasn't touching my soul. So when I went to church and then they were singing and they were talking about this, talking about that, I listened to people and people would go back to what they were doing. They would talk about, oh, this was the good times. No, those weren't the good times. And what you're doing is you're replaying those videos, and that's what you're going to go back to because you think those were the good times. Because I
It's a law of
know because
attraction.
that's what I thought. That's what I thought. Those are the good times. Those weren't the good times. You know,
Yeah.
we thought we were having fun. We thought we were having fun, but were we really having fun?
It's funny that, and I think I've talked about this before with other guests, is, now that I have my kids, one's in high school, one's in middle school, and I talk to them all the time. I'm like, I know there's going to be peer pressure and it's going to look fun, but I promise you that it'll set you back and could possibly ruin your life. And the pain of a parent to watch their kids maybe not listen is terrifying to me. And so I think anyone who's a parent probably empathizes with that. And that's part of the reason, and I think you can relate to this, Mike, is part of the reason I live my life the way I live it now is because I want to be a good example to my children, even if they don't follow my example. At least
Yeah,
I'm living according to, I'm practicing what I'm preaching.
exactly,
And
exactly.
hopefully that'll amount to something, you know.
Yeah. My kids, I can't stand you. I hate you. You need to go somewhere else. You need to go somewhere else. My mom needs to be with somebody better. Da, 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 that kind of stuff. And today, my kids tell other people I want a relationship like my mom and dad. And my kids
Wow.
talk about me like I'm the greatest thing in the world. I'm not the greatest thing in the world. I'm trying to be. I'm trying to be the best dad, the best grandpa, the best friend, the best brother, the best, I'm trying to be that person that I wasn't. And my kids are like, my grandkids think I'm the greatest thing in the world because they don't know. And that just touches my soul. My granddaughter almost made me cry. My granddaughter told me I was her best friend.
Man, that's awesome.
And
Yeah.
that just touched me so deep. That touched me so deep because to hear my granddaughter, who was her dad is still in that world. Her dad fills her head with a lot of stuff, all of that stuff. And then now she's catching on. She's old enough to where she now she sometimes doesn't even want to talk to him. I mean, I don't condone that. I don't want to keep anybody away from their kids or any of that. You know what I mean? But when your kid sees what you're doing and you're about, like my kids didn't want to talk to me, and that's what he's going to be going through. And it is for my granddaughter, when her dad was out, she didn't want nothing to do with us, and we were bad people because that's what her dad told her. That he was feeding her that. Oh, they're no good. They're this, they're that. You got to be with us, this and that. Now she sees different, and then she said, "My grandpa's my best friend," and that's
Well, the kids aren't wrong. They know. So yeah, I just have anyone who knows you or knows of you, and to see where you're at today, it's pretty obvious to me, from before and now. And I just think that's amazing. And that's why I reached out to you.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. A lot of people think getting out is the finish line, but in reality, it's just the beginning.
Just the beginning.
Run us through, like, you're working full time, you're providing for your family. I mean, that's a huge shift from where you
Yeah.
came from. What's a day in the life like for Mike now? Like, because I know it's getting up every day and punching the clock. I mean, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, but you have a strong purpose and a strong anchor.
Yeah. Before I would have been like, screw this job, I'm done. But now it's no, I got to make this better. I got to make this better. I got to make this work. I got to make this work. I get up anywhere from 3 o'clock in the morning to 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the night, anywhere in between there, and work until 5, 6 o'clock at night. I'm in the rain. I'm in the snow. I'm in the sun, heat. I'm in it. I'm a flagger. Right? That's what we do. And it's not always easy because people hate you out there. We've had guns pulled on us. We've had we've had things thrown at us, food thrown at us. We've had objects thrown at us. But then,
From stopping traffic or guiding traffic?
yes,
What the
yes,
heck?
you get these people that want to kill you, run you over, shoot you, throw food at you, or you get these people that bring you water, bring you food, ask if you need a coat, if is there anything I can get you? You get one of those people. There's no in between. There's no in between person there. They either want to do you something wrong or they want to help you. And I've witnessed one person being ran over. I've witnessed uh, gun being pulled on the whole crew. I've witnessed a bunch
I guess you'd never know about this unless you talk to a flagger.
yeah,
And you're just like, man, am I getting paid enough to do this? But,
exactly. Yeah,
but I think, like, going back to like when I first got out, I worked at, Duke, my cousin. He was a supervisor over there, and he got me a job like super quick,
I worked
working
on
a
the
union job. Okay, yeah. So I'm sandblasting ships all day, going into ships like a contortionist, needle gun and stuff. And
going into
I remember
the sea chest. And
the sea
big
chest,
guys,
blasting that out,
big guys like that, like us getting that low sea chest and going into the
gnarly.
tank.
Okay, yeah. So it's just like, it's, you look at guys that do that for 30 years. You can't just help but respect the trades, respect what a man does to provide for his family. I've done a lot of different stuff since I've been out, and that's where I met your wife, because the shipyard kept laying me off, and
Yeah,
so I got this job at Subway, and I never quit. Even when they called me back to the shipyards, I kept that job for like another year. So I would work 15 hours a day, 10
yeah.
hours at the shipyard, and then 5 hours to close Subway, because I was so scared of getting laid off. But I had a question in mind. How does it feel to be there for your family in the way you couldn't before?
It feels amazing. It feels amazing. It feels a breath of life. It's a breath of life. I don't know. I don't even know if I can explain it. I love being here with my family. I used to want to stay in the streets. I want to go on the streets. I want to go on the streets. I'm missing something. No, I'm missing something when I'm not home.
Wow.
I'm missing something when I'm not home. I'm 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 always I go to work. I'm not in a hurry to go to work. I'm always in a hurry to get home. I have never been in a hurry to get home. I'm always in a hurry to go somewhere else. Always, huh? I was always in a hurry to go somewhere else and to be somewhere else, and because I was missing something. I got to be here. I got to be there. I'm not missing anything out there. I'm missing what's here.
Yeah.
It feels so amazing for me to have my kids, most of my grandkids, my wife, and we're just here. We're doing it. We're doing it. And it feels good. It feels man. I don't have to keep my head on a swivel. I don't have to worry about somebody gonna shoot me in the back. I'm home. I'm safe. And this is where I'm missing the stuff at. This is where I need to be at.
It's
You know,
awesome, man.
before I used to want to go out and run the streets. Now I just want to sit home and hang out with my wife or play video games.
Yeah, that's yeah, I've gotten pretty good. I learned how to quick scope when I was like 41. Um
I just learned
yeah.
how to quick scope.
No. Oh man, I'm gonna have to edit this out. No one needs to know that. But yeah, I was just like, I just clicked one day and I was like, oh. Anyway, let's see. Let me go down the list here. Well, obviously you've let go. I can tell. I think I had that same. Life is way tougher out here. Look, even though I've been out for a while, like there's still a lot of stuff that I remember about how I used to think and live my life, and it's like there's no finish line to. It's just learning and growing and working hard. What do you believe God was trying to teach you through all of those years? Through all those years of being locked up, through all the gangs with drugs, with all of those lessons, hard lessons, what do you think God was trying to teach you through all that?
God was trying to show me that His love is the greatest love. He was showing me that He had me, and that I didn't have to do the things that I was doing because He was doing it for me. God showed me that He would provide for me if I would do what His Word said.
Yeah.
I learned that God had a purpose for me because I'm going to give you a scripture, chapter 8, Ezekiel
I'm trying to
chapter 8,
find it.
verse 1.
Boom, boom.
So let me tell you before I read that. So when I was 6 years old, I was hit by a car and I died. But God said I have a purpose and brought me back because my mom, when they told my mom and my parents and my elders that I was dead, when they came back, I was alive because the hand of God was upon me. So when I came across this verse, is when I really got deep into the word. It came about in the 6th year. I was 6 years old. On the 5th day, on my birthday, June 5th, of the 6th month, as I was sitting in my house with the elders of Judah sitting before me, that the hand of the Lord God fell upon me there. That's when the Lord brought me back to life. I was out running around in the street on my birthday and got hit by a car and was killed. And God
Wow.
brought me back.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah, and that verse that is your birthday. Yeah, I think that this segment right here, if I'm moving forward, would be more like to let's say the younger people watching, or really anybody, but there's someone watching this right now. Maybe they're locked up, maybe they're on the same path you were on. What would you say to them?
I would say to them that if you're headed down the road I was headed down, it ends in a bad way. I didn't make it to the end, and I'm glad I didn't make it to the end because God showed me that there was another way. When the Bible says there's the small road, the thin road is the road, not the wide road, and that's the truth. Because we all want the wide road. We all want to have a lot of room. It's not the way. I would say get within yourself. Think about where you're going, where you're at, where you're going, and where you want to be, and you can make it happen. If you're thinking about doing the same thing that you're doing, nothing's going to change. You have to change for there to be change. If nothing changes, nothing changes. So look within yourself. You have to look within yourself. No, you're not going to find it in anybody else. The only person you're
What I
going to find
want
is in yourself.
I wonder if, I think back, and I feel like a lot of guys that I talk to have a lot in common, is It's like, it's not until they're absolutely ready, right? And they are just, hey, I am done. And I don't care what I have to go through to make this happen, but that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And some people, it takes a while, right? And
Yeah.
my wish is that if there's a young kid seeing this, or anybody at any age, that somebody could learn, please learn from somebody else's mistakes. Don't
Yeah.
go, you don't have to go out there and make a ton of your own. Cause like you said, not everybody makes it, you know, some
Yeah.
people have a very bad ending. And I think that the reason why I started this podcast is because I called it the Consecrate Podcast, is because I want to consecrate my efforts for the rest of my life to doing good and spreading a good message in the world and putting good out there in hopes that good can come back. And so like what you were talking about is like there's a saying that, you know, the joy that we have in life has little to do with the circumstances of our life, but everything to do with the focus of our life. And so where our focus is at is like, that's the direction that we're going. So it really doesn't matter where we've been. If we consistently focus on a certain
Right.
direction, that's the direction that we're going to go. Unfortunately, it just takes a lot of time for people because everyone's learning at different rates and different times. But again, my wish is that if someone watched one of these videos on YouTube or where the social medias that it's on, that they would be inspired to fight back, to fight harder, so that they don't have to spend 10 or 20 years in the revolving door of drugs, alcohol, gangs, and prison.
The thing that one has to do is, I wasn't saying earlier, I wasn't saying not love yourself, because you have to love yourself. You
Yeah.
have to love yourself. And to love yourself, you have to do the things that's going to make yourself better.
Which are usually not easy.
Not easy at all. Not easy at all. Because we always want
Yeah.
to revert back to what we've been doing and what we know. It's not always good to go back to what we know and what we've been doing. Like I said, if nothing changes, nothing changes. That revolving door is always there. Always there.
Yeah. Yeah, man. All I can say is that I am super, you know, stories like yours remind us that no matter how far someone has gone, they're never too far gone.
Yeah.
And I'm super proud, like just super proud of you, Mike, for, you know, what you've done and what you're doing for your family. And, you know, I recognize the change, the genuine change. And I haven't talked to you for years, right?
Years.
But I just
Years.
knew that, you know, you can kind of tell when someone's been out for a while, like there's a reason for that. And yeah. Is there any other words of advice that you give to somebody that's thinking about joining a gang or using drugs or
don't 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 join a gang. Gangs they sound good. They talk a good game, but they're misleading, misguiding, and they're not your real family. They're not your real family. If you know anything about any gangs, you know that they send people on missions. They send people to do things that they themselves wouldn't do, but they talk about doing. I know. I've been there. Uh, drugs, drugs are bad. Drugs are real bad. Drugs take away your mind. You take away your soul. You take away your spirit. And they guide you in dark places. They destroy your dreams. Your hopes are null and void. So drugs there's going to be people out there that you think that are your friends. Oh, come on, man, just one time. That one time turns into two times. That two times turns into three times, and then the cycle begins. So, I mean, my advice is hang out with people that are trying to get ahead in life and not stay in the same position.
yeah, solid advice. Sounds like some dad advice, you know? You know, I wish I would have, you know, I love my, you know, my family and people that used to give me advice. But yeah, I wish I would have respected people more and took their advice because I didn't listen to anything. So maybe it's far fetched to think that someone's gonna wanna listen to anything that I have to say or any of the guests say. But there, you know, if it my thing is if it affects one person, it's totally worth it. One person
One person.
and it alters the trajectory of their life, then for me it's worth the time spent doing this. And so, you know, I thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. And
Thank
I'd like to maybe another time we could expound on more stuff or
you. Yeah.
talk more about in terms of like where we're at now and success or unpacking other things. I find this very therapeutic and like talking about stuff, not in a way that glorifies it or something,
Yeah.
or talking about war stories, but I find it this way and this method's a lot more therapeutic because most of the guys that I talk to really aren't glorifying anything that they used to do, which is like, that's where you need to be, right?
Exactly where you need to be. 'Cause
I
you get
appreciate.
those guys that are, oh man, when we used to do this, man, you see the fire in their eye and it's still burning.
Got yeah. Dang, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah. I don't know why I'm getting emotional, but I look back and I think about how I was throwing my life away so much and how did I get there? How was I so trapped? And I'm thankful. Yeah, I'm super thankful that I was able to, like you, get out of that.
How do you,
Dude, I
man?
ended up paying. Yeah, thank you. I mean, it's a daily thing, right? Like I could, it's all about choices. So, you just got to make good choices every day or try to. But yeah, I've been sober for a long time too. I would say redemption is real, change is real, but it takes work, sacrifice, and a decision to become something different. If this episode impacted you, share it with someone who needs it. This is the Consecrate Podcast, and we'll see you on the next one.